I'm gonna let you actually have the last word with Nikki because I know we're gonna talk again, and then
Oh
I
yeah,
wanna I wanna respect your time, so we'll let you go. But you go
I
ahead.
love talking.
You
Yeah.
have the last word. I mean, my man.
You said you're real into psychology. I wanted to ask if you've ever heard of the phenomenon which psychologists refer to as ego death. Um, it's
The
a
only reference to ego that I've heard is from Freud.
hmm,
Ego. Duh.
it's
Hmm.
a temporary yet complete loss of your ordinary sense of self, and it's what a lot of mystics describe at the height of these mystical experiences that I mentioned earlier. And
Ah,
so you said you wanted like a neurological explanation. A lot of the research that I follow, perhaps you've heard of DMT.
mhm.
um,
I was actually going to bring up DMT earlier based on what you were saying. Yeah.
okay, yeah, so a lot of neuroscientists speculate that perhaps that are these yogis who sat in meditation, or these early Christian mystics who performed things like hesychasm, may have induced endogenous DMT naturally. And so, if you look at psilocybin, the psychoactive inside the mushroom, the psychedelic mushroom, it maps on very closely to DMT.
The fly agaric, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm
So
being
that's
the fly
Amanita
agaric.
muscaria. That's a completely different
Uh,
species. It doesn't contain
okay.
psilocybin. Yeah, the psilocybin mushroom is Psilocybe cubensis, or there's other species that contain psilocybin. But if you look at the chemical structure of psilocybin, it maps on almost identically, almost twin-like to DMT. So the whole reason
Mhm.
it affects our consciousness so profoundly is because we already possess naturally what it contains. And
Sure, like Coke and THC, they already bond to pathways already
so I guess
set aside for transmitters. Yeah.
I heard you say that. I've never seen anything outside to convince me of the divine. If you ask like a mystic or yogi,
Hmm.
where is God? He wouldn't point out there something in the sky. He would
Sure.
say a potential inside you, a potential
Well,
in
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
that's like Rocky. I like Rocky. So.
Yeah.
I guess I would ask, I don't know if you've ever seriously went into an endeavor of some kind of spiritual discipline like meditation, or I practice Advaita Vedanta, for instance, or even psychedelics. They say that these experiences occur at the high dose of a single psychedelic experience.
Of
And
course.
I've asked Matt Dillahunty, I've asked some of the members of the ACA if they've ever had psychedelics, and he admitted that he had tried some, but not nowhere near the dose that's
Yeah, you did say he.
experience.
Mm.
And so, yeah,
I'm kind of. I have a friend in Nashville who likes mushrooms, and I've never tried them, and I'm kind of boring. I so I would like to try those, but that would probably reinforce my understanding even more so that there's something happening neurochemically that's contributing to these ideas. Um,
Mm.
and
sure. Go
trance-like
ahead.
states are very important in religious ritual for that purpose because the objective is to connect with the divine, and of course the divine is difficult to find in corporal the corporal world, so you got to kind of elevate your senses to find the divine, and the best way to do that is a lack of sleep, fasting, taking a substance of some sort, or dying almost, where your brain is lacking oxygen and your brain is dying. And that's when people
Mm.
report a lot of odd experiences. But one thing that's interesting
Mm.
about these experiences is that they've always aligned with people's previous religious expectations. So Muslims don't see Jesus. I mean, maybe they do, depending on their interpretation of Jesus's relationship and or well, how they view him in Islam. But let's say Hindus
Right.
aren't going to see Jesus. Christians aren't going to see,
Yeah,
Brahma, or I'm sorry,
no, definitely.
Ali, or
Um,
yeah,
it, I spend a lot of time researching this phenomenon, and
yeah, you know a lot. I'm
I
over
can
here
tell
googling.
the even in the research they do say this experience occurs on a spectrum, and so they have what they refer to as the height of this phenomenon. They call it the complete mystical experience, and it's defined by meeting all the
Mystical.
yeah, it's a term
Mystical
originally laid
means
down by William James. And so at the height of this phenomenon, people express something that's has nothing to do with their personal history, but when they approach it, they may, if they're brought up in Christianity, they may see Christ on the cross, or if they're brought up in the Islamic religion, they may see Muhammad, and so forth. I wasn't very religious myself when I had this experience, and I had a vision of Bill Hicks and Terence McKenna. So, people can see things that are unique to them, but at the very height of this phenomenon, it no longer refers to your uniqueness. It's actually they see it as a kind of universal phenomenon in consciousness.
I just hope when someone's tripping, they see me. That'd be dope. I want someone to trip and be like, oh man, geez, my God, I should give her money. That's what I want. That's what I want. Sorry, I'm being a little facetious.
I think it's really interesting if you look into it, the way these professionals will describe it.
Some resources, because I
definitely.
I'm building up, because of my recent thread about what books are you reading. I'm actually building a list off that, and I need. There's always these resources, of course, within the books I'm reading, but I like to research what people send me.
Sure. I'll put one link in the chat. It's Dr. Roland Griffiths. He's a head neuroscientist out of the research. He gives a lecture here. And inside the description box, you'll see references to the peer-reviewed material that they managed to produce at Johns Hopkins University.
Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you for sharing that.
Wait, why am I halfway through this? Was I already? No, I wouldn't have been watching
it's timestamped.
Yeah, I see 23 minutes, 4 seconds. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Start describing what entails a so-called complete mystical experience. And
see, what gets me is the word mystical and spiritual, because those things throw me out of like.
No, I understand. I speak to so much people about this that a lot of people have problems with that term. But the thing is, they have to refer to the phenomenon somehow. Alan Watts once called it cosmic consciousness. It's also been called peak experience by Abraham Maslow. There's been other terms. But what they definitely don't mean by mystical is supernatural in the sense of something that defies the laws of physics or something like that.
That's where I'm being thrown off, because it's when I hear mystical or supernatural. But I think what people say by mystical, I think they just mean
transcendent.
Trippy. Listen, I went to Pride like a couple weeks ago, right? And I had abstained. I was doing good. And I hadn't drank any whiskey or smoked any weed. Is this like it doesn't matter. And like, I went to Pride and just smoked a bunch of weed and drank a bunch of liquor and was just like, everything was blue and bright and beautiful. And I was like lying on the grass and people were like, are you okay? And I'm just like, I'm fine. And like, I was just like, all the communication and the people. And I was just, and it's like, I that may have been as described. I get it. That may be.
Well, I mean, if you were able to discern yourself as something separate from the environment, you still had a sense of ego. And when I say ego death, there is no sense of ego at the height of this phenomenon. In Eastern philosophy, they call it non-dualism. It means that your subjective sense of self and what you perceive objectively fuse into one, and that's why mystics talk about oneness. Even the characteristics inside the list that I sent you, are quite profound. I mean, people, these volunteers will describe a sense of transcending space and time, a sense of complete, infinite love, a complete unity. In that very sense, I told you, that very non-dual sense that that William James first laid down this term mystical experience. It sounds kind of hard to grasp, and I think it will be, as long as someone hasn't had this occur to them. It's going to be very difficult to try to understand what is going on there.
It's so scary, because I've been like really high before, and I remember what that felt like not feeling in control and not like just it's. You mentioned this before. What's that? You have to is it coyote? What you have to go to what?
Peyote?
Peyote. Is that what you do? You go down south and because they won't let you have it here.
I think you're talking about ayahuasca.
And you go to like a kind of a retreat.
Yeah, retreat. and it's a drink. Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
famous Hollywood people have gone there to do it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think of like Gwyneth Paltrow or something like that. Like I I I don't doubt. Like I'm with you 100%. I know it's a really interesting. I guess the implication is that I understand like there's this understanding, or I understand like people are saying this isn't to demonstrate the presence of something outside of us or supernatural. But if it's not, what are we going for? Because like,
Okay.
Unity, brotherhood, oneness. A lot of people. When I came down from this experience, after feeling this complete sense of unconditional, infinite love, what Christians call agape.
um,
I couldn't even but hurt a fly. I started letting them out the door instead of swatting them. It had that kind of
really, that
effect on
fly
me.
today would have loved you because I was
Yeah.
like, get out. I said, oh
I mean,
gosh,
not just
so
that.
mad.
If
Walmart
you
delivery, let it
read the
in.
studies, they've had efficacy with people that have PTSD, depression, people who are terminally ill cancer patients who can't deal with the end of, the facing the end of their life because, they can't even have dinner with their family because there's death is so weighted on their mind. And when they have this experience, they kind of come to some type of acceptance where they can actually spend the rest of their life in contentness and have that family dinner. And, so it's been helping that way. What I would mention, he said, what is the point? A lot of the professionals related to what's called the perennial philosophy. So they don't see this phenomenon exclusive to any one religion. So like what the Christian mystic may call the Holy Spirit or the beatific vision is precisely one and the same with what the Buddhist may call nirvana or what the Sufi mystic calls fana. It's because it's not it's a universal phenomenon in consciousness, so it doesn't belong to any one religion. And so if that's the underlying source, I think it's a beautiful message in the sense that it could ultimately unify the world's major religions. I think it's kind of I don't think it's very feasible to try to put Christ on a pedestal and say, hey, this is the only true religion and none else. Because then it's going to be an endless battle.
Allah or anybody. Yeah.
But if you adhere to something like the perennial philosophy, a lot of mystics who had this in any major religion, they would see beyond their own religion and notice this underlying harmony amongst the major religions. And so I think it could be something leaning towards something like that, a harmony, a unity, a brotherhood, and so forth.
Ooh, we are primates, my good friend. And as soon as everyone comes down from that, they're going to look and start lusting after what's it called? Coveting their neighbors, everything again. That's like, yeah, like I mean, I think so. This, I know. First of all, like you seem like a really sweet person. Like you seem to really, and I don't mean that like in a deprecating way, to really focus on like love and unity and caring, things like that.
Well, I guess because I consider myself a perennialist, so I see truth in all the world's major religions and I have deep respect for all of them. Whether someone's Christian or someone's they believe in Islam, I have respect for all of them, and I find them all very interesting. After I had this experience, I was about 23 years old when it happened. I'm 36 now, but it led me to start studying.
Very young.
Yeah, comparative religion. And so I got into studying comparative religion, Eastern philosophy, Greek philosophy. I went into even the religions that are no longer here with us, like Manichaeanism, stuff like that. And I just got. I became convinced that a lot of these mystics' writings, they do seem to speak on this phenomenon.
Sure. No, it's as I said earlier with like the ritual, like the prayer. This is universal. It is absolutely universal. It's just like Tyler said. It's just culturally relevant based on when we were born. So like no. Everything you're saying to me, I believe you 100%. I believe that Joseph truly believes that Jesus exists and died for his sins. I believe that. All I say is, it's science. Like I always say is that it's not like anything really like maybe I'm a little bit of a I'm not a nihilist, but I tend to be very I hate to say empirical, but yeah, maybe empirical. Like I'm just not thrown by like when people like they're like I have these mystical. I'm like I understand. Like I believe you are having it. I just think it's humans. I just think it's your brain, like just doing what brains do. Like
So do I, you know. But
yeah,
I guess I don't have, it never led me towards atheism. It got me away from it, and but
it's
I don't.
interesting because I would just say it's a like I I mean, it means different things to everyone, like,
Yeah.
honestly, because there are people who have had, similar experiences, and it's deterred them from atheism, and it's people who've had them, and it's kicked them right into it, or neither, or both, or
Yeah,
there's probably
I mean, I've heard people like there is a girl named Dina Baser who's one of the cancer patients that volunteered for this experience, and she said she remained an atheist, but she also said to describe her experience, she said she felt like she was bathed in God's love, and then
That's
they interviewed her,
true.
Michael Pollan, and he said, well, how can you be an atheist and say that you're bathed in God's love? But he's like, well, as an atheist, I don't have a term big enough to describe this, so I have to borrow from this vocabulary. I maybe that can happen. I think maybe because it happened in this late stage of this final stage of cancer, she maybe never had an opportunity to really study religion. Because if you look into religion, I mean, this being bathed in God's love is precisely what mystics refer to as agape. It is,
I was
this sense of infinite and unconditional love for all people and things. And
love is, love is a oh, man. Love is a human construct. I don't think so.
well, I think that's why they
Love.
use agape instead of love, to make that
I was
distinction.
raised in that. So when I hear agape, I think of the evangelical church or like the
Mhm.
Christian church. When I hear it,
Right.
it kind of I don't like to say I don't like to say triggers, but like it takes me back to like when my mom and my dad were talking about agape love and how God has this agape love for us, and we're supposed to have this agape love for each other. Um, like when I hear that, I think, okay, this is like a
Well, you see, it's a mystical utterance in the sense that you have to remember that the mystic they don't perceive self and other the way we do. Like we're talking about, we have to love this person, we have to love that person. They interpreted, for instance, the original sin as if you can imagine it as the ego perceiving itself separate from nature. So as long as you perceive yourself separate from nature, you can get a one leg up on nature. You could sin against nature. You could rape nature. You could steal from it
actually don't feel like
because
I
you
am.
you have this original division. But the mystic sees everything as one, such that there is no other. It's all one.
Actually, maybe I'm a mystic because I see everything as one. I see myself as one with nature. I see all of us as one. I just believe that we are we are the universe expressing itself. We're like the universe being we're consciousness. We're the universe is conscious and it is us. That it's
Sure.
conscious through us, and that's demonstrable. But I don't think it's like a
I agree with you. I think
I don't
that's
want
the
to take
start.
away anybody's like, and that's what people are like. Are you trying to take people's faith? And I'm like, no, that's the problem. Like, if you're questioning, I want to help lead you out, and I am very aggressive with it on Twitter. But like, I don't want to like. That's why I don't really like, because I'm such a buzzkill. Like, people are like, I
Mm-mm.
love Jesus and God, and then I'm just like, yo, it's just your brain. Were you smoking something? Like Wesley, I literally was like, Wesley, what are you, Wesley? What's
I'm gonna
going
have
on?
him on, man. I'm gonna get Wesley, man.
Please. Oh my gosh. Wesley was tripping. I love it. But
Nah, he's
I don't
bugging.
want to be like, because I understand like it's important to have these experiences, and as a human, it's wild. Like I've had experiences where I've been like I don't know how I would describe it. It feels very similar to what you're describing, but I would be like I would be under the influence of something. I'd be extremely tired, like stressed, haven't slept for like a day or so, smoked a bunch, drank a bunch, crying, brain just going wild, listening to the same song over and over, just like, and just having these weird, like, I understand. Like, it's not, I know it's probably not as like trippy as like others have experienced, but I'm just skeptical of like, I don't think there's like human love is a human construct. So when you feel like all this love, that's like that's what religion is supposed to create. That's the experience that we're supposed to share that reinforces your participation in the group and your safety in the group. So when you feel this universal love, it's your brain tricking you into thinking you're safe, you are protected. The environmental threats out here are not going to touch you. You're at peace. You are one with everything. It can't hurt you. You can't hurt it. It's a very nice, flighty feeling. But it's not real.
Well,
I would say.
it's funny because like a lot of these volunteers will say at the height of the experience that this is the most real thing that they've experienced. That there's nothing more real, and it seems they're like bar none. This is unanimous amongst all the volunteers who meet criteria for the complete mystical experience. And I see it. I mean, if this notion of the perennial philosophy holds any water, then it goes back to
that.
and even before that to the Hindus. If you ever research Hinduism, it dates back. It has roots dating back 10,000 BCE.
I was listening to a lecture on Hinduism a couple days ago. Yeah, no, I'm with you on the perennial philosophy, to be honest with you. I believe that perennial view is actually what kind of got me out of religion, because I was like, well, hell, everybody's got this going on. So if everyone has it going on, there must be an evolutionary component to it. So what is this evolutionary component? Then I started researching it, reading, understanding Homo sapien evolution and our behavior, how our neurosystem came to be, how we interpret our environment, how we even got to the pinnacle, because we rule everything. And our, just it's so wild just sitting in this room. All this crap is the result of Homo sapien innovation and genius, just like to this Sprite Zero I'm not supposed to be drinking because there's a chemical in it that makes me addicted to like all of this. I know, who was I talking to today? Oh, my business partner. I was like, girl, I gotta stop drinking this Sprite. She's like, they put something in that Coke Zero. It is so good.
Well, I hear you kind of saying that, like, it may just be a difference of semantics. Like the way I spoke of Dina Baser, how she used this language, yet she was an atheist. And yet, you agree. You seem to agree with the perennial philosophy, but you still hold a kind of atheist perspective towards it. And I guess the way I come to see it is I don't really. When you talk about a neurological basis, I don't see that as define anything divine. I see it as aligned with one another. That they're compatible with one another.
You mean you're saying the divine is compatible with the neurological phenomena?
Yes.
How would we demonstrate that?
I think that's what the phenomenon does. The so-called mystical experience. I think that's what it does for the individual.
How do we differentiate between a neurochemical imbalance and an actual divine? Okay, so let me first ask, because I thought initially we were saying there was not a supernatural component, but when I hear divine invoked, that sounds like a supernatural component. Is that what you mean?
No, I think. See, a lot of atheists, I think, do that. They kind of make the supernatural synonymous with the divine, in the sense of like going against the natural, something that defies the laws of physics. Like even on the show, I mentioned that I brought up the word supernatural to Matt Dillahunty. And I asked him to define it, and he says, I can't define it because I don't know what it is. It's never been demonstrated to me.
Yeah, I think it just means outside of nature, which means that it's not really demonstrable based on that.
Yeah.
I guess divine. Okay, you know what? I hate being this person because I don't really like to get into definitive. Divine is defined as, well, it could be either of the first definition is of form or 1:16 a.m. Of, from, or like God or a God. And
Mhm.
then the second is excellent or delightful. So like
Referring to the
this,
first definition.
okay. So that's where I was kind of like going, and that's where, okay, so I thought we had moved away from that.
Well,
So,
well, again, I don't mean it as synonymous with supernatural. It doesn't say in number one supernatural. It's not referring
no.
to something that's, um, the way I guess there's also different interpretations of the supernatural itself. Like some people interpret it as like something that defies the laws of physics.
Sure.
Another interpretation says something to which science doesn't completely yet understand, but it was still natural.
So
You know,
we're okay. So let's move away from, excuse me, supernatural, and go to divine. When you say divine, how are you defining it?
so when people have these profound experiences, you said you related to some of them, but have one of the characteristics, for instance, is people describe the sense of transcending space and time. It's a sense of
Mm.
that all time, past and future, have collapsed into the moment. You know, it,
Yes,
it, um, you know,
tripping hard. That's yes. I'm not trying to like dilute it.
yeah.
What you're saying, it. Yes, I'm with you.
And so,
Yes.
like you'll often hear mystics say, like, I don't know if you ever heard the quote from Meister Eckhart, where he said, "The knower and the known are one. Simple people imagine that they should see God as if he stood there and they hear. This is not so. God and I, we are one in knowledge." So in that
Yeah.
state, yeah.
It's just kind of. You know what the language, you're losing me. It's starting
Yeah.
to. It sounds very.
I think people just have an
No.
issue with the word God. It has a lot of baggage. It's ambiguous to a lot of
Like
people.
it's like
Um,
a airport full of
yeah,
baggage.
you know,
Like
if the way maybe a different way I could put it is, it's a state of consciousness. Having had this experience where there are no boundaries.
sure.
There's no boundaries between yourself and other. Um,
Yep.
all boundaries are transcended in this temporary experience. Of course, you come back to the the baseline of consciousness, your egoic
Of
state,
course.
to be able to
Yeah.
talk about it, and it remains as something in your memory banks.
Sure.
And yeah,
I remember and I'm not trying, like I said, I'm not trying to dilute what you're saying. I guess I'm trying to say I get it. I do. Like I do, but nothing is going to like the way it's being defined is confirming my initial hypothesis that it is a universal human experience that's based in a neurological
Well,
occurrence.
that's what I was going to too when I first approached it. I
Mhm.
was starting to lean into that, like, or similar. Humans have similar brains, therefore we have similar experiences.
Sure.
But when I read uh, a little bit more into the research, it's very clear that the researchers don't really see it in that sense. They see it as more of a feature of consciousness itself. That, I mean, this part would be speculation, but it may not be intrinsic to simply human beings. Consciousness may be a phenomenon that occurs in every entity on this planet, whether it be mammal, all types of mammals, even perhaps insects, even perhaps plants. And
But
so,
what's a feature of like where does consciousness emerge from?
you see, that's another thing that happens when you have this experience. Like a lot of atheists, for instance, say that consciousness is generated by the brain. If you actually look into the neuroscience, there's absolutely no evidence for that. That consciousness is still quite a mystery to neuroscience. And so, like, you have
Can
one
we know
analogy. You have
anything that has consciousness that does not have a brain?
here's the way to think about it. So instead of trying to imagine a consciousness without a brain, the way a spiritualist might see it. So in one model, you have, to use a metaphor, atheists see consciousness as like a factory that produces cars. So if you destroy the factory, you're going to destroy the cars being produced. You're going to blink. Consciousness blinks out. That might be an atheistic model. Whereas the more
I don't think
spiritual,
it's atheistic, actually. I think it's a demonstrable scientific model
look into it.
until
I challenge you to look into it.
okay, that's
Uh,
yeah.
a spiritualist model might be more akin to a television set or a radio set where this, the signal may be consciousness, and our brain is more like the tuner. And so we tune into this consciousness here, but just because you destroy the radio doesn't mean that the signal disappears or
So
blinks
the
out.
signals emit from somewhere. Where's the signal for consciousness emitting from in your?
I think that's a
in your
mystery. I think that's part of like the hard problem of consciousness. It may be. I think it was David Bohm, I believe, that spoke about non-locality, the non-locality of consciousness, that it's non-local, and
That's interesting.
yeah, and so it goes into ideas like that. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of quantum mind. If you
Sounds
search,
like some Deepak Chopra.
it sounds like that, but I think it's legitimate. It says basically that a consciousness can't be described by classical mechanics alone. So instead, we may have to posit quantum mechanical phenomenon like entanglement or superposition, and that may be so, because I mean we do refer to atoms as referring into this quantum space, ultimately, and so yeah, we can't say
I think that's kind of the theme. I think it's kind of.
You mentioned Sean Carroll. Like, have you ever heard Michio Kaku talk about how, these parallel universes, how we exist in one universe, but simultaneously in the very room you're in exists the universe where dinosaurs never died, where Hitler won the war.
Kaku was very interesting.
And so, it may be that your brain is a tuner and it's tuned into this consciousness right here, but in the very room you sit in exists every possible universe there is. And
that's fun. I mean, I love it. No, like speculating about these things, I find it like it's very fun. I just wouldn't apply it.
That would get me to the question for you, Kafei, if you believe that, like, and I think this is going to be a different show. I'm interested in what you believe about morality. If you hold the position that you're holding, like,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, I'm just interested in terms of like what you believe about morality and objective truth. If you believe certain things are emphatically wrong, and if so, where do you get your justification for it?
My take is, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated, and it's a common theme amongst all the scriptures of the world's major religions.
I know, say that.
And so, if this phenomenon of, like, let's say the mystics, the beatific vision, the things I was mentioning, there is a Hindu yogi by the name of Ramana Maharshi, and he was once asked, how should we treat others? And his response was to say, there are no others. Because you see, the mystic sees all as one, so that's the foundation of where agape resides in. It's that complete unconditional love, and it anchors every single major religion. And I see it very similarly. I think that's why we have something like the golden rule.
So what would you say to someone if they're like, so what? Like are they
I get that very often.
Are they objectively wrong? Like if they're like what you said about we're all one.
Mm-hmm.
Is that statement true?
I see it as a mystical utterance. It's true for the mystic because they reside in that state of mind.
True. It's just true, demonstrably, scientifically.
Yeah, you could say that too, but many people don't see it that way because a lot of people are selfish. They reside in their ego. They see themselves as disparate entities from one another.
They can see it that way, but it's not that way regardless.
Yeah, it is that way.
It clearly demonstrates that we are all.
I agree, but you're not going to.
What's even selfishness? What is that?
I think it's just adhering to the ego, like only fulfilling the desires of the ego, oneself, and ignoring all others.
What's wrong with that?
Man, I think that's what leads into things like what happened in World War II. A war itself.
We couldn't survive if we lived like that.
She mentioned Andrew Tate earlier, and Andrew said he asked them, "Who are they?" I think people refer to
Is this being recorded?
Mhm.
It is being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't say what I think about Andrew Tate now.
People mentioned the Illuminati. I think George Carlin put it a lot more powerfully. He said the owners. He called them the owners, and the people who are in power that own all the media, that own, they have the judges in their back pocket. So they're in everything, and
golden
so
passports, everything.
And I think that type of greed and power exists because of ego. Because
yeah. Do you believe in like
money and power too
and stuff? Then
evolution, you said.
Do you believe in like reincarnation and stuff?
Oh, reincarnation. When you're born, you're in a sense a reincarnation of your mother and father's genes. In a sense, but I don't believe it in this. And there's a soul that transmigrates amongst bodies. I think there is a sense that we do get reincarnated. Of course, when we have offspring, part of our genetic material, and of course your partners are both retained in that new body. And I think even Aristotle said that everyone has the same essence. Of course, they spoke of the soul. The original Greek term is psyche. So they didn't see the soul as something like metaphysically separate from yourself. It was consciousness itself. And that essence may be in everything. I think I forgot which Greek philosopher said it, but that he said that the same essence that's in you is inside the grasshopper, it's inside the cat, it's inside the dog, But we just have different forms.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's like,
yeah.
And so when you say like same essence, you would afford that. You would say it's the same essence, but demonstrated differently. For example, it's wrong for us to kill each other, not animals, even though we're the same.
Well, I think it's the wrong discussion. I mean,
like, is it wrong for animals to kill each other?
You mean like when the lion hunts and stuff like that?
Yeah, like why can they hunt but we can't? I mean objectively in terms of whatever. We're human, so we're talking in these terms. But like, if we evolved from the same type of things, then why can they kill? And why is it wrong for me to? I'm not saying that it doesn't work for society, and obviously, like, it doesn't help us flourish. But what if me and my people and family want to flourish by hurting other people? Why is that wrong for us, but not wrong for animals?
I can try to answer that. That's why I really love Hindu, Eastern philosophy, because a lot of these unanswered questions in Christianity are actually answered when you go to Eastern philosophy.
Wait, what's the unanswered question in Christianity?
Your why question. Why can the lion do it and why can't we?
That's not unanswered in Christianity.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see. So there's an explanation as to why the lion does it. Maybe there is. And in Hinduism, they have the wheel, and in the wheel, they do have like kind of a pyramid of how these what they call sentient beings. And the lower portion of that is the animal kingdom, because they're still based on a lot of instinct and that. And so when you have the human being, they're closer to what they call Brahman, or it's their term for the divine. And so, and they refer to them as sentient beings. And it's the sentient beings that come to that realization that the instinctual mammals may not be able to recognize it because they're far from it. But because we're close to it, like if you look at the Jains, for instance, they were naked ascetics. They forbid. They were rigid vegetarians. They wouldn't even harvest potatoes because it would risk hurting insects. This is how. Yeah, that's how rigid they were. So and they would avoid, even when they would step across the ground, they would avoid killing insects and stuff like that. And so they had this huge respect for life. And I think so. If you consider the lion, if the lion, let's say the lion finally evolved to have a consciousness very close to how we experience our consciousness, I would be willing to bet that the lion would be one of these sentient creatures, and it would develop this higher sense of morality, and it probably would become a vegetarian.
No, I have that higher sense of morality, and I would never become
would eat us because the lion is stronger than us. quite strong.
And start breeding us and everything like that, and
So,
start controlling
so,
us, but probably not.
so, like in your mind, then, like if we, in your mind, KP, if we evolve from like the same type of thing and we're the same essence, in your sense of same essence, but you would maybe afford that we're not of the same value, even though we're of the same essence,
Yes.
because you
Yeah.
would say it's okay for us to eat animals, but we're of the same essence and we're one. So
Yes, eat the animals.
why would we eat each other if we're of the same essence? Why would we
Well,
harm and
I don't
kill the
think.
animals
I think.
even though they kill each other? I mean, I
I
know like nutrition and stuff like that, but I would say
Sorry, I'm being a smart.
nutrition. No,
Are
I would
you
say like
saying you're not a
nutrition.
vegetarian? Or you're a meat eater? um,
I want a
no.
steak as we speak. I'm on keto again. I am starving. I'm
Yeah.
doing a 16-8, and all I want is steak right now. Okay.
Well,
A Walmart person brought me grapes today, and I was like, "Don't bring me grapes." Oh my god.
Because like
Sorry.
when you say we're of the same essence, would it be fair then to say, okay, we're of the same essence, but then you would say, but it's different. Like it's just how it works. We can eat the animals. Like where does that standard come from? Where does that
well,
standard come from for
I,
you?
I I think if the way I imagine the Jains, for instance, I think they were very close. Really see this mystical experience as something hardwired into us. It's very, it's a naturally occurring phenomenon, and it's biologically normal. And the more you're attuned with it, the more you're attuned to perhaps be a vegetarian, and the further you're away from it, then you're going to permit yourself to eat meat.
Oof,
I,
I must
you
be
know,
far away from it. I'm googling pictures of ribeye
So
steak.
so
I think it's
so
time for me
like
to
do you,
go. You
so but
guys
if
are
oh
awesome.
yeah,
I'm sorry. You
no, you're
guys,
fine.
I'm
You're
so
fine.
off the topic. I'm actually googling ribeye steaks because I am so hungry. And you guys, I'm so sorry. We started talking about meat, and I was like,
Hey,
I
y'all,
googled medium.
guess who's back in the chat before we roll out, y'all?
Wesley, go. Is it Wesley?
Yeah,
No.
man.
Oh, it
It
is.
is. My man.
No, I wanted to. Oh,
My
Wesley.
man.
My
Listen.
man. Wesley. Okay, Wesley, I am going to bed.
Yeah, we about to
Joseph,
crash out. I'm about to crash out too.
Jimmy,
I appreciate
Tyler.
you, Nikki. I appreciate you guys. We gotta do like
We
we
got to
gotta
do
do an
this
after party
again.
to the after party. We could just hop on
We
and just let
do.
it roll. Let it roll. We can just let it
Jimmy,
roll.
I want to, when I get my podcast going, I want to have you on, please.
awesome. I'd love to be on.
Yes, please. Because I want to discuss this more.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I
That's good.
love this type
That's
of stuff.
good.
This is like I love it. I also am hungry, so I need to
No,
go.
this is
I'm
good. We
trying to
love you
slim
too,
down.
Wesley, even though I don't
Love
know
you,
what you on,
Wesley.
man.
You're so
We love
trippy.
you,
I love
man.
it.
We love you, man. But all right, man. It was good seeing you guys and talking, of course,
You
with
guys are
Nikki.
great.
Appreciate you. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do
I
this
had
again. I don't know,
fun.
like get on is everyone on Twitter here?
Mm.
Everybody?
Yes, I'm on Twitter.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna come wait, is your Twitter name, can you guys put it in the chat so I can save it and come find y'all or whatever?
Okay,
I'm
I'll
going to
share it.
post a shout out to Joseph, and if you guys don't mind responding to that, oh, someone's got like a big. Oh, nice. Okay.
Make sure.
Um,
Wesley, I don't know if I can follow you, man. You seem like you're gonna be blowing me up, man.
Wesley is awesome.
We
Joseph,
love
thank
you, Wesley.
you. um, yeah, I want to keep talking about this. I want to do this. It's wild. Like Dillahunty does it professionally. I'd love to do it professionally. It would just be nicer, until maybe someone drives me, like says something wild to me, like someone keeps comparing homosexuality to like incest and bestiality, and I'm like, that's triggering. I can't even lie. Like some things like take me out of my like senses,
Out
and
of the
that's one of
zone.
them.
Yeah.
That takes me way out. Like I can't even, because it's like me being with my wife is the same as like pedophilia. Really? Yeah. Don't send Chris Hansen over me, over to my house. Don't send him over. Joseph, thank you so much. I had a great time. Let's do it again.
Got you.
And if you guys could just respond to that or like tag and be like, yeah, have fun. Wesley, you can tag me too.
Wesley, if you're still out there, man, what's your social media? Or
yeah,
if you
what's
got a
your at,
YouTube
Wesley?
channel, we gotta
God,
get
is
you.
Wesley has a YouTube channel.
Oh,
Oh
no,
my
he doesn't.
gosh, I'm going to light up and just be like, oh man, just put it on repeat and just be like, Wesley.
Yo, Wesley
Oh
Curry
man.
the second.
Woo. Crazy goes back generations, huh, Wesley?
Oh yeah, he came right up. Oh man, he
Yeah,
going
Wesley.
in.
Oh, Wesley's not playing. Oh, he has a YouTube channel?
Yeah,
Stop.
he does. He came right up.
What?
Oh, Wesley, I
Stop
see you, man. I'm gonna get
it.
you, man.
Wait,
I'm gonna get you, Wesley.
Wesley, the what? I'm sorry,
Wesley
Wesley.
Curry the second.
Oh, it popped up.
It pops up in the search like.
Subscribe. Wesley, this picture is dope. This picture, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Can I? Oh, I'm sharing both because I have you both here. Oh wait, now it went down. Hold up. I'm learning how to do this. I feel like. Can you guys see?
Here it is.
Look at that. Look at that. Dope.
Man,
And he
Wesley,
already
man.
he posts. See, Wesley does what I see. Wesley has the balls that I don't. Like he really does. Wait,
Oh man, Wesley.
Wesley. Yeah,
Oh,
what's
that's
going
not
on?
him. That's not him there.
Why are they
He's
suggesting
up
that,
there.
Wesley? Oh my gosh, this is dope. See, Wesley's doing what he needs to. Oh no, your piano teacher passed. I'm so sorry. Piano improv. Okay, okay. That's right. He's like a musician.
Yeah.
Homemade sandwich bread. Love it. Face swaps. And through thou Satan shall tempt you with 332.
No, brother. No.
I was like, Wesley, the mark of the beast is an Omni tattoo. Ooh. Dope. Okay. It's like mixed with like music and like crazy, and I love it. I see green pastures in the dream Jesus Christ gave you and me. You made pizza? Nice. Wesley, I love this. I want to listen to some of the music though. Seriously though, that'd be
Hey,
cool.
it might be good. It might be real good actually.
The music's probably excellent. Yeah.
Might be hitting.
Wesley, I fish and bread from Jesus. How is that fashionable shoe of yours? It's one of his highest views. Profit. Hey, there's the 144. Cool. Wesley, I subscribed. This is my apartment. I love it. I feel like this is such a wholesome channel. Like, this is wholesome. I love it. 3 times in 3 days, Jesus shall remove. Well, you guys, atheist, how I speak. Oh, cool. Maybe I'll do that one.
That's funny.
But, yeah.
No, it was good talking with you guys. We'll do it again. We'll get something.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. I had fun. You guys are great. I'm going to sleep. I'm dreaming of
Absolutely, me too, man. I'm gonna get up with you guys on social media tomorrow. Make sure I got all y'all follows and stuff. I'm already following Nikki, but
yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good night. You know.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Good night, Wesley.
Good night, Wesley.
Bye.